if we do have a block nearby, then just pop it near your mat, just in case we are able to use that at any point. We're going to draw our legs out nice and long. The back comes flat down towards the ground and the arms just relax by your side. Allow a deep, nourishing belly breath. The breath in Yin is natural. It flows in and it flows out without any interaction, without any purpose or intention, other than having a full and complete breath. We don't need to set a specific time for the breath. We don't need to take diaphragmatic breaths. We don't need a specific breath pattern. The relaxation of all of the muscles of the body in Yin often helps that breath become even fuller, even slower throughout the course of the session. So as we relax down more and more physically, more and more within the nervous system, over time, we should find that we become more and more complete and full within the breaths, which has a knock-on effect to our nervous system. Allow your eyes to close down here. Allow your cheeks, your forehead, your jaw, everything softens down. Allow the back body to become heavy. The back of the head heavy. The legs become heavy. We relax down each and every muscle. It's normal to have an engagement through the glutes, through the shoulders, through the face. So wherever we can, we soften down. And then when you're feeling ready, keeping the body as relaxed as we can, we're coming into our first session. Our first pose, sorry. We guide our arms gently back. We take hold of the opposing elbow. We're going to step both feet over towards the left corner of your mat. And both arms up and over to the left corner of the mat. This guides us into a gentle crescent moon pose. Take a nourishing breath in, and then as you exhale, allow that heaviness through the body. In each pose, we'd like to find what is known as our edge. Our edge is the point in which gravity lowers us down to, where the physical body is relaxed and soft. The sensations are halfway between no intensity at all and far too intense. We never want to experience any sensations of pain, but we also don't want moment to moment to feel so gentle and so easy that our mind just drifts away. we would like our awareness to settle on the physical sensations. That could be the sensations that we feel within our body as a result of the pose, which here should be from the elbow all the way down to the outer hip, maybe even traveling down the outer right leg. Yin is amazing for the physical body. It helps us bring length and strength into these deep, deep yin tissues. Which are thought to hold emotion and tension. Yin and yang are relative to what we're looking at, but when considering the human body, what is deeper is often referred to as yin. What is harder is often referred to as yin. So the joints, the bones, the ligaments and tendons, all these deep tissues of the body are often referred to in yin as our yin tissues, and the muscles, the skin, the blood referred to as yang. And whilst the muscles, etc., all prefer those faster, impactful, flowing movements, these deeper tissues are thought to enjoy long, still holds. This is where they become longer and stronger and more lubricated. In day-to-day life, when we're going about our day-to-day activities, the stretch response, which is where the muscle contracts to protect these deep tissues and to support and hold us upright, can often mean that these deep tissues, whilst being protected from impact or speed, can become underused because we don't often take movements such as this in our day-to-day life. When you're feeling ready, step both legs and both arms back through center. And then step both legs and both arms up and over towards the other side of the room. We would like to feel that sensation through the side body. We're not only helping the physical body here, but we're also working greatly with the energetic body. This can refer to many different things, and we're not just talking about the balancing of the yin-yang energies, but we're talking also about the traditional Chinese medicine theory of encouraging the flow of prana through the meridian system. Every yin pose is designed around the meridian system. The ley lines that run through our body, they look like veins, and they're thought to carry prana or life force or chi. However you choose to refer to that energy, that sense of well-being that is constantly flowing to you and through you. In Yin, we're allowing ourselves to encourage that flow, target areas of stagnancy or tension. We use stretch, compression, lengthening to allow that flow. By releasing all resistance from the physical body, which in turn gradually releases resistance from the energy body, the emotional body, the mind. We know that when the mind is stressed, the body can become tense. When the mind is anxious, the body can become jittery. We know that when the body is hungry, the mind can become agitated. So we know that there is this complete interconnection between mind and body. In Yin, we allow the mind to be whatever it wants to be in that moment, with the one difference in everyday life, we're just not going to respond. The mind can wander as many times as it likes to wherever it wants. It can feel happy or sad, good or bad. We don't label or judge, we just observe. Allowing it to be whatever it is, accepting wherever we're at today. There's no right or wrong. Here we're targeting the gallbladder meridian, which is thought to relate to feelings of release, forgiveness, letting go. And it runs through that side body. When you're feeling ready, coming back through center, and we're going to draw our left leg up towards us. Shine the left sole of the foot up towards the sky and hook your left biggest toe. We allow a heaviness through the body here. Allow a softening down. You can hold the biggest toe or the outer foot, whatever feels right for you. Allow a releasing and a relaxing through your forehead. Heaviness through your shoulders and your hips. It's normal for the leg to fall out to the left or to fall to that wall behind you. Wherever that leg naturally falls, we just allow, as long as there are no sensations of pain. We always want that halfway point between not intense and too intense. We're searching for that halfway point between compassion and discipline, so that we're tapping into both, ebbing and flowing between the two. You might find that despite this ebbing and flowing where the intensity rises and falls, overall there is a downwards trajectory where the intensity becomes a little bit less. It dissipates often into a very enjoyable pose. It's thought that this only happens when there is a lack of physical resistance, meaning if your muscles do switch on and reject the pose, we can't reach that enjoyment within the pose. And the same can be said for the mind. For as long as we have resistance, an element of trying to control, of labeling good or bad, right or wrong, that we won't have that sense of peace in moment to moment. In everyday life, we do want that labeling, that good or bad. We want to make judgment calls. We want to respond and react. But we need moments within our life, such as within yin or meditation, where we just allow ourselves to exist, free from those reactions or responses, where we step back into the observer state, where you observe in silence. When we observe from this state, you'll find things that might not have arisen before can arise. Things that we suppress, things that we hold down. We don't have to pull them in for further conversation and decide what it means, what we do with it, where do we go from here. Instead, we just observe. We don't push it away and reject it, which would be that resistance. It can also come in the form of pulling it in and changing it, making it mean what we want it to mean. Instead, we just witness. Whatever arises has arisen. We just observe in stillness, like shining a light on a part of ourselves that might have existed in the darkness. The thoughts don't belong to you. You didn't create it. In yin, the thoughts are just something that you are experiencing as the external observer. When you're feeling ready, we're going to draw that right leg up into the right hand. Your left leg is going to drop down towards the ground, and then gently, really, really slowly, if you would like to send that leg long, that left leg, then you can. If you would prefer to have that left leg in a bend for a gentler approach, you absolutely can. So when you're feeling ready, we relax down any resistance, we allow that heaviness, that softness, and we just breathe. Breathe through the sensations that arise. Allow gravity to melt you down with every exhale. The arm is quite a yang energy in this movement. The arm aids that right leg, which is the yin part of this pose, to soften down and completely rely and relax. We always want to melt down as much of the physical body as we can. So whilst the front of the left groin, the entirety of the right leg, and a little bit around the pelvis and down that left leg also are the target areas, we would like to ensure that as much of the body is softened and heavy as possible. And this is because the more of what we can control, which is the body, is relaxed, the more we begin to relax down through the mind, the nervous system, the energy body, the emotional body, the areas that we can't physically control as easily. We're full of compassion in yin. That compassion does not come from a place of doing. We're not telling ourselves to reach for empathy towards ourselves. That compassion simply comes from observing and accepting with love. This is your natural state of being. and requires no action from you. All we do is simply peel away the elements of doing, and we are left with that silent awareness. It's completely normal for the mind to wander. Give yourself permission to just observe, free from secondary conversation, no matter how deep in conversation you find yourself. When you're feeling ready, we release that right leg down towards the ground. We're going to come into our next pose, in which we grab a block. If we don't have a block, we grab a book. And if we don't have either, then we can absolutely do this without the block. You would simply tuck your pelvis a little bit under and reach your arms back, and then relax down heavy so that you have this little arch in the lumbar spine. If we do have a block, bend your legs, lift your hips, and slide that block underneath the pelvis. Now, as you lower your pelvis back down and then send your legs long, if that feels comfortable for you, you absolutely could leave your legs bent for this one if it feels a little bit much to send them long. Naturally, that block might slide up towards your lumbar spine. If it does, take a moment to shuffle it back down, because we definitely want it widthways across the pelvis, or underneath the pelvis, not the lumbar spine. From here, we draw the arms back in an extended position. If you don't have enough room behind you, you can hold the opposite elbow. If you do, we allow the arms to be long, so we're really allowing the energy to flow from tip to toe in this one. If you have sensitivity in your fingertips, or your shoulders, I should say, for example, if you begin to become tingly or numb in your fingertips, just draw your arms that bit wider, making sure that the arms and the shoulders are a little bit further away from your ears. If you do feel comfortable with that, a little bit more compressed sensation, then we draw them together. So we allow that heaviness, that complete relaxation down. As we soften into the pose, observe your lumbar spine. Observe your armpits and chest. Observe the front of the groin. In this pose, we're using stretching through the front of the groin, front of the thighs, the tummy, the shoulders, chest, and armpits. This allows us to predominantly target the stomach meridian through stretching, and the heart and lung meridians through stretching. But we're also targeting an area through compression, which is arguably maybe the main part of this pose, which is the lumbar spine, or the urinary bladder meridian. Each meridian, you'll notice, is named after a specific internal organ. Each connect to different emotions. For example, the heart and lung meridians often relate to feelings of love and freedom. The urinary bladder meridian can relate to feelings of fear and anxiety. And the stomach meridian can often relate to feelings of contentment and safety. There are no good or bads, even though some might be relating to fear and others to love. When in perfect flow and harmony, we're able to feel that perfect, harmonious, healthy balance of all emotions. It's thought that when there's tension in the physical body, such as a build-up of fascia, the muscles contracting, squeezing and compressing, that flow of energy that runs through the meridian body, that we can have blockages or areas of stagnancy, which can lead us to feeling certain emotions in excess or lack. Each pose has these meridians in mind, along with areas of tension. Often the poses you'll notice focus on the hips, the legs, the lower back and the shoulders, which are all areas that are thought to hold a lot of emotion, tension and memories. Because we're thought to hold things in these areas, your mind can wander to very random places when we practice Yin. Especially if we're a new practitioner, we might be releasing things that we've held for years and years and years. We place no judgment. You don't even really need to watch where the mind wanders. We simply allow ourselves, once we notice that it has wandered, to observe it in stillness, meaning there's no tracing back of the conversation, that internal chatter. There's no deciding where we hold this within our body, why we hold it, what it means, how we let it go. All we do is observe it in stillness. Our mind is still and the thought is still. Free from judgment, free from reaction. That non-attachment doesn't mean that we're detached. When you're feeling ready, as slowly as you can, we're going to slide the arms down by our side, bend the legs one by one and send the block away from the body. When we're ready, we're going to roll onto our side and make our way slowly up onto our fronts. From here, we're going to come into our pigeon, or also known in Yin as our swan. So we slide the left leg up towards us and then through. We draw that left leg out in front and the right leg back. Now in Yin, wherever you land is your perfect version of this pose. So we do aim for alignment at the start, but if you fall out of it, that's fine. So that back right leg should be in line with your hip at the start. That front left leg might start off dorsiflexed, relatively parallel to the front of the room, but then we relax. And as you relax, that leg might splay a little wider or in. This front leg might ping in towards your pelvis and the foot will become neutral. We relax down each and every part of the body. If this feels too intense, we can come onto the back for full stretch. If it does not feel intense enough, then we might walk the hands forwards and relax the head down. You can absolutely stack forehead on forearms if you'd like that halfway between, or you can prop yourself up a little bit taller if you need. So wherever we land, there will be an initially intense sensation. This can be a difficult one to not reject, not resist gravity, fully trust in the pose and release and surrender. If you find it difficult to relax physically, a good mantra to return to in Yin can simply be the word surrender. Whilst we still want that compassion for the body, for example, you don't want to surrender into the pose to the point where you surpass your comfortable range. You would still have maybe a yang energy in the arms to support you and make sure everything's feeling okay for you. But knowing that that lack of resistance can increase your enjoyment in the pose, we allow ourselves to release any control over the pose that we can within our limit, to enable us to reach that yin-like state physically. The same can definitely be said for day-to-day life. That acceptance and allowing of whatever is. That accepting and allowing of ourselves exactly as we are. It's often our resistance to situations that can create more suffering for us. Whilst we don't have to pull it in and be excited about the sensations that we're feeling, but also not pushing them away and rejecting them. We just observe exactly as it is. Allow that to be our present moment. We breathe through it. Often, just as the pose becomes quite enjoyable, we are ready to leave. So if you do want to spend more time here, you absolutely can. But if not, we're going to place the hands underneath the shoulders and then make our way gently into a tabletop and then send our right leg through. We start off with a focus on alignment, making sure that back leg is in line with our hip joint, making sure this front leg is relatively parallel with the shin, dorsiflex with the foot, and then we soften down. As we soften, that foot becomes neutral. You might relax forwards with the body. You might relax your head onto your forearms. Wherever we are, we become heavy. Now, this is one of the poses that we can relax physically fully. For example, when we were in our half-happy baby before, it required an element of yang from our physical body. Our hands and our arms had to be switched on to keep the leg in place. However, here, we can relax the head into the ground or onto the arms. The entirety of the body is supported by the hard ground, the mat. the entire body can relax further and further down with gravity. The intensity in poses such as this can often feel quite intense because gravity is doing all of the work. It's quite unmonitored. When we use our hand, we often subconsciously go a little bit easier on ourselves, but here we really sink down. The skeleton falls into place, into your perfect version of this pose in your present moment. However, because we can be so relaxed, that initial intensity is often shortly followed by even more relaxation than poses that require yang energy, because every muscle in the body can soften, accepting the pose. When we observe the physical, often we initially focus on just the intensity of the stretch. But see if you can observe any deeper. Some people have quite a strong interoception, which is that connection to these very subtle movements in the body, such as the heartbeat, hunger cues and fullness. And you can often feel even more intense and maybe even energetic sensations. Observe if you can feel the sensation of movement in the hips despite the stillness. Sensations of fluidity in water and liquid. Sensations of warmth or coolness. Blood flow. Sensations of fascia breaking down. Interoception is a skill that can be built, especially through practices such as meditation and especially yoga. We become more and more in tune with our body and what it needs and what it's doing. Often, even though we're falling deeper physically, the sensations become gentler. Yin is thought to be very beneficial for improving our general relationship with pain. We never want to experience pain in Yin, but it teaches us a lot about the differences between discomfort and pain, or intensity and pain. Allowing ourselves to sink deeper with that acceptance, being followed by a subsiding of any intense sensations. Deciding to put ourselves in a position where we know it will be intense, but in the long run, our range of motion is better, our physical joints are more lubricated, longer and stronger. Our energy body is flowing, our mind is rested. feeling ready, as slowly as you can, we come up with the arms. We're going to slide that leg back and then make our way onto our backs. Savasana is our final pose, and it is the ultimate pose to do after Yin. If this feels too intense on your lower back, you can absolutely draw your legs into a bend, knees together, feet wide. You can also go for more of a supine butterfly, but if we can have those legs long for this, it will feel really lovely for your energy body. Your arms could be down and away. I often like to plant them on my torso, somewhere that feels as though it needs extra nurturing or attention. But do what feels right for you. Relax down your eyes. Still your pupils. Drop your tongue to the base of your mouth. Allow your breath flow to draw all the way down to the base two corners of your tummy. And all the way up to the top two corners of your shoulders. Allow your forehead to be relaxed here. Your cheeks are soft. The back body melts heavy. The bottom jaw is parted from the top jaw, but the lips are together, allowing the breath to draw in and out through the nose. Observe the sensation of breath on your top lip. And as the breath fills the tummy. Observe the back body melting heavy and the front body expanding and contracting lightly. Feeling grounded and lifted. Taking up more and more space with every breath. Visualize your energy expanding as you inhale. And becoming more relaxed and heavy with every exhale. Observe the heartbeat. Observe it overflowing into your limbs. Observe the heartbeat in your palms and whatever the palms are touching, whether that be the space around you or your torso. Observe the heartbeat within your pelvis. The center or root chakra, leading up through the sacral chakra. Draw your way slowly within your mind's eye. Through the solar plexus. Through the heart, the center of the chest, the heart chakra radiating, through the throat chakra, the center of the neck, the third eye chakra, just above and behind the eyelids, color purple, radiating. And the crown, not just on the crown of the head, but leading up and up to the top of the space that you're taking up. When you're feeling ready, you're going to begin to move through the fingers and through your toes. Draw your arms back, stretching long through your body. And then hug your legs in. Roll onto one side and then up into a seated position. And you are all done. Namaste.